Welcome to Around Town. My name is Jason Plotkin, and I'm a director with the Laurel Board of Trade and your host. I'm also the CEO and managing attorney of the Pinder Plotkin Legal Team, located in Laurel, Maryland. We're a personal injury law firm that handles auto accidents, truck accidents, dog bites, and workers' compensation claims. As a survivor of 2 serious collisions documented in my book, Crash Course to Recovery and Beyond, I've stood in the shoes of my clients, had my life flash before my eyes, suffered through surgery, and faced the unknown of recovery. Additionally, I'm the founder of GoBotics.ai, which provides AI services to small and medium businesses. We specialize in AI employees and AI voice receptionists. I'm also the co-founder of Truce's Tax Advisory, because tax planning shouldn't start in April. It should be year-round for business owners or those with 1099 income. Proper planning creates extra income you can use for the vacation you always dreamed of. We have a great episode today. Getting us started is Ian Robinson, a fellow director with the Laurel Board of Trade and a committee member of the upcoming Laurel Main Street Festival, which is going to be on Saturday, May 2nd. The Laurel Main Street Festival is Laurel's flagship community event for food, fun, and entertainment. It was first held on May 16, 1981, inspired in large part by the city's long overdue upgrade and restoration of Main Street itself. What began as a one-time celebration quickly became an annual tradition, organized and sponsored every year since then by the Laurel Board of Trade. Ian, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about your history with the Laurel Main Street Festival and the Laurel Board of Trade?
Sure. So my first interaction with the Main Street Festival was a volunteer. And a friend of mine was like, hey, I'm going to do this, come out and volunteer with me. And that was about 4 years ago. And I watched Main Street build up, because we were there at 5 o'clock in the morning. And so I was there helping people get set up, directing traffic, anything they needed to do. And so as the day went on, the people came out, the vendors, I was like, wow, this is an amazing event. And I came back another year and volunteered, and then, here I am now, a director. So I fell in love with the event, from the very first time.
Well, that's a great journey, and just not to scare everybody away, not everybody has to be there at 5 a.m. as volunteers, right?
No, not everybody. No, we want the volunteers to come out that early.
Yeah.
We do always appreciate volunteers, but we do have a schedule, so there are people that can come out at 5, they can come out at 12, and then, after all the fun is done, we got to break it down. So we're looking for volunteers to come and help break it down. So some folks come at 3 o'clock and help with the breakdown, and so 3, 4, 5-ish.
So we can fit everybody's schedule if they want to volunteer, right?
We'll work with everybody, yes, sir.
Great. So what types of sponsor benefits do businesses receive if they sponsor the festival?
So we focus on awareness, making sure that the business is introduced to the community. And that's our number one priority. And after there, we kind of tailor the needs for each individual business, because not everybody wants the same thing. So we customize the packages.
Now, May 2nd's coming up.
Yes,
Is it too late to sponsor this year's festival?
It's never too late, never too late, never too late at all. Because of course, this year, it's only weeks away, but next year, we're planning for next year as well. So a sponsor can come in now and we can talk about, the benefits that they would get next year.
All right, and how can someone view a sponsorship application? How can they find it?
Laurel Board of Trade, the website, they can go there, or they can contact me directly, but the website has the sponsorship opportunities. They can go in, sign up, and they'll put their information in, and I'll reach out and I'll contact them.
And I see it a lot on social media, right? So there's a lot of opportunity on Laurel Board of Trade social media. I see the applications. I think the city of Laurel even recently shared it. So it's getting a lot of engagement.
Right now, that is actually a focus that I have an initiative I put together. We want to reach out to more businesses to help us and put the event together and sponsor, and anything from a convertible car where we have the parade marshal riding in to being an in-kind sponsor. So we have all different types of packages.
Cool. So speaking of that, what is something you wish a potential sponsor knew about how sponsoring the Laurel Main Street Festival could help them?
I think there's got to be a need or a want to connect with the community. I mean, because that's, if you don't know Laurel, it's a very tight-knit community. And Main Street is a part of Laurel, but it's not all of Laurel, right? So connecting with the city. And, one of the things that I think that's missed about Laurel is that it uniquely sits it's what, 4 counties, right? So how many places can actually interact, with and say that they can interact with 4 different counties?
Yeah, no, you got the city, you got the Prince George's, Anne Arundel, Howard. It's all right there, and you're right. We talk about AI technology, but that person-to-person connection that you have with your potential clients, customers at the festival it's hard to put a price tag on it these days.
Exactly, right? Exactly, because interaction, right? That we all we're humans and we need that touch, that interaction, and I think some of that was lost because of COVID. But everybody's back outside now.
Sure.
Come outside. It's a beautiful. The last year was such a beautiful day. The year before that was a beautiful day, and I'm hoping this year will be the same. You get outside and just walk up and down Main Street, interact with all the different vendors and the food, right?
Oh.
The
food's great.
The food.
I'm looking forward to get my steps in, right?
Yeah,
Because I got to get my steps in if I'm going to have that good food.
Yes, it's true. It's true. Yeah. So, how many times do you think you walk up and down Main Street and you?
It's a lot. It's a lot because you're just talking to people. You're visiting with other businesses Then you see a client. You see a friend. You see somebody you knew from a community event. You see a local politician, right? You see someone that works for the government. And there's all these micro conversations that you're having, and it's great.
It is. I enjoy it. I think the community enjoys it. So, we always want more and more people to come out and have some fun with us.
Well, I think it's going to be a great year for the festival. So,
looking forward to it.
Thank you for coming in here today. I really appreciate your time. I know this is crunch time. You got a lot of stuff going on at the festival, plus work, and we really appreciate your dedication.
I'm happy to be here, and thank you so much.
Following this commercial break, we'll be joined by Pivot Physical Therapy. They're a sponsor of this year's Laurel Main Street Festival.
Hello, Laurel, and welcome. I'm Natalie Williams, Director of the Department of Communications for the City of Laurel, and this is your Laurel Living in Focus, a quick look at the stories featured in April's newsletter. To read the full stories and to stay connected with everything happening in our community, please visit our website at www.cityoflaurel.org, or you can visit our official social media pages.
Today, I'm thrilled to be speaking with 2 outstanding physical therapists from Pivot PT, right here on Laurel's historic Main Street. Pivot is a valued sponsor of the Laurel Main Street Festival, and their clinic at 545 Main Street, Suite 117 is literally steps from where the festival is taking place. They specialize in helping people recover from work-related injuries, car accidents, neck and back pain, and much, much more. Please welcome Sharia and Katie.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Well, thank you for being here, especially taking time away from your patients and the busy schedules. So, Laurel Main Street Festival is coming up.
Yes.
What made Pivot decide to sponsor?
So, as a therapist who's been in the community and having the practice in Laurel for the last 30 years, it's great to get to know the people more and get more, offer the community more service and being able to get people back to work and their normal functional activities. As we have been treating patients with multiple injury, especially car accidents and workers' comp and many, many more in the patients' demographic.
And I always love the Main Street feel. Like for me, as a personal injury lawyer, when I see a client in the courtroom or in a conference room, it's a little different to see them out in the street. Yes. People are dressed more casual.
Absolutely.
They get to see you as a person, right?
Absolutely. And that's our goal, to get them back to the community.
Yeah. So can you tell me about some of your memories of seeing clients or patients out in the field?
Absolutely. It's always good to patient that comes to you and originally they cannot even do a simple walk in their neighborhood, and coming to physical therapy, you assist them, and now you're seeing them outside in the grocery store and they remember you and they're able to do their normal functional activities. I think that's the best reward, seeing people in your community.
Great. So can you describe some of the overall PT services that Pivot provides in Laurel?
Basically, we provide almost everything, from dry needling, from the basic conventional PT, which is just for someone neck and back pain, multiple different injury. Then we specialize in work-related injury also. We offer work conditioning, we offer FC, functional capacity evaluation tests to get our workers injured back to their field. Also, we offer dry needling, which obviously all the patients' demographic can benefit from that. We do all the manual treatment and rehab, many exercises, and get them back to their sport-related injuries. So we pretty much offer everything that we need to be able to get people back to their community.
That's great. And work hardening is always a great concept for me, because for those that don't understand, it's when someone's been injured and they need to get back to work, so it's conditioning their body.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right, because when a work injured is off work for multiple months due to their severe injury, it's not just that one body part that gets affected, into the entire body. And for them to be able to go back to that 8 hours, 10 hours of extensive work, they need to build up that stamina to go back so they don't get injured again. And that's one of the things we see, that when the patients are back to work quickly, they get re-injured because they're not conditioned. And our goal with work conditioning is that to get them back to safely return back to their prior function without being re-injured.
Okay. Well, I know my clients really appreciate the work you guys do, helping them get back to work.
Thank you.
Because that's everybody's goal, is to return back to their activities of daily life.
Safely going back to work.
So, talk to me about some of the common auto accident injuries you treat.
Basically, car accident, head-on collisions, kind of rear ends and everything. We see a multitude of them. We see a lot of truck drivers, with truck accidents and all of that. So that's kind of like a goal too, because they have to step it into a higher vehicle as compared to, just our SUVs and our sedans. So simulating the environment, training them to get on and off the trucks, also, lifting weights, loads. So we see a multitude of things. We've seen a lot of USPS drivers, and we've seen, all of those accidents as well.
Yeah, a lot of people don't think of like office workers and drivers as having a lot of injuries that impede them doing their job, but that stiffness you get from sitting at a long time, it really impacts them. So what specific types of injuries, like whiplash, do you commonly treat after a car accident?
Yes.
Definitely one of the whiplash, absolutely. Neck and back sprain. Shoulder, a lot of time people have their hands on the steering wheel, so their shoulder gets affected, their wrist gets affected. Concussion, it's very, very common post-car accident. Headache, severe headache, which affects them to concentrate. So those are the common ankle injuries. So a lot of patients assume that car accident is just a neck and back, but it's definitely more than that. Your ankle can be involved, your knee. You see a lot of knee patients, shoulder, neck, back, which is most common, and again, concussion. We see a lot of concussion patient and headache.
Yeah, concussions are very prevalent, very underdiagnosed.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. And that is something that unfortunately affects not only just physical activity, but emotion, concentration. They have difficulty even concentrating on the simple task during the day because their headache. And that is something in physical therapy and Athletico. We have, certified vestibular disorder physical therapy that they can get them back to normal activities.
Oh, that's great to know.
Yes,
so do you work with patients directly to help them with
this?
Yes.
So I am certified to do vestibular and concussion therapy. I'm also a dry needling certificate holder. So pretty much a multitude of conditions can be treated. So I do see patients even with direct access, and sometimes, coming in through auto accidents or, kind of orthopedics, coming in just for a concussion screen and an evaluation, and then we determine if they could be a good candidate. So yes, that being said, we do a lot of screens, like injury evaluations as well, and then determine if they would be a good candidate for PT. So that's also something Pivot offers.
And that's very important, because you touched on the screening.
Yep.
I think concussion screening is an area where a lot of patients downplay their concussion-like symptoms. I always talk about my injury experiences with clients, and one of my more serious collisions, well, they're both pretty serious, but my neck and my back were the primary issues I had. and I felt a little bit in my shoulder. But eventually my neck and back kind of resolved and my shoulder stuck around. Turned out I needed to have shoulder surgery.
Exactly.
Right? But your brain focuses on what hurts the most. And a good therapist, good doctor is really about screening and being observant of a patient, because they don't always know how to explain or what's going on.
Right.
Right? So what's one thing that you wish a workers' comp patient, and then the one thing you wish an auto accident patient knew about how the system works when they came to you?
I think you mean how the PT works?
Just overall in general, when someone gets injured, they've never been injured before, they're going to go to a physical therapist, they're dealing with an insurance company, dealing with a lawyer, insurance adjuster, and let's be frank, you guys are kind of like their therapists, right? You're getting them relaxed, they're laying down, you're dry needling them, and they talk. And you have to, you don't give them their advice, but you've been experienced, and you're probably giving them a similar speech periodically about, well, you should go check out this, or you should go talk to your lawyer about that, or be careful what you do here, or mention to your doctor this. What kind of advice can you give? Because our audience is dying to hear.
I would say when it relates to workers' comp injury, because again, I see a lot of workers' comp injuries. Unfortunately, a lot of times they don't know the option that they have out there. They got injured. This is first time they got injured. They're handling all these physical injury, as well as the stress that they cannot do their job, but they don't know what options they have outside. And they're waiting for that authorization to come in, that case manager to authorize the appointment. They're not seeking treatment, or when they see the doctor, they're not telling them everything that is hurt. So they start with the neck injury, but while they're in the doctor's office, they don't mention their back pain, and now if it's not part of the claim, it's going to affect them. So having advice from an expert to assist them, that they can guide them through to make sure that they get the proper treatment. I think that's a key that I see in a lot of workers' comp patients, that's the information that they're missing, unfortunately, or sometimes informing their physician or their attorney about all the body parts that was injured during the accident or their injury. And I would say that's the main thing that we see. One thing that we see in Atletico that we try to help our patient is that if your doctor wants you to do physical therapy, you don't have to wait for that time we can get you started. Your treatment doesn't need to be on hold while we are waiting for these paperwork to be done. We can assist you, but that is proper through the proper, having the information, your claim information, your adjuster's name. These are the things as an injured person you should know: who's your adjuster, who's your case manager. Those are the basic information and obviously having advice from the attorney, if you choose to have attorney, obviously. It's to making sure that you have all of that so you can start your treatment as soon as possible.
All great advice, because most people don't realize that they're afraid to gather additional bills if they're out of work.
Exactly.
But there are systems in place between doctors, lawyers, physical therapists to hold some of the bills while the paperwork is going through, right? And people don't always understand that until they get that advice, and sometimes they wait too long.
Absolutely.
That's one of the big things we see. People call us 6 months, 9 months, a year later, and their life's falling apart physically. There's not much we can do because it's hard to track that causation, right? We got to have the breadcrumbs.
And one more thing that I add, it's to inform your supervisor when you're injured. Sometimes people get so busy with their job, they get injured at work, but they don't report that to the proper person. And so it's always advised that if you get injured, you absolutely want to inform on a day off to your supervisor and make sure you have it documented about your injury.
That's great. Yeah, we've relied upon a lot of screenshots of text messages before, right? Where you tell somebody something happened, they can't deny it later.
Exactly.
Because
I think that's something that we see some people unfortunately miss that.
Sure. And then with some of your auto accident patients, I know one thing we see is this trend for people to settle their cases right away before they finish treatment. And I know with physical therapy, a lot of times people start to feel better, right? But from their physiological standpoint, they still need more time. It's like you're just getting back to what you feels like your new normal, but you're not quite healed. You might need another 3 weeks. And a lot of times people don't understand they want to wrap up their case too early.
Absolutely.
So what can you tell somebody that's starting to feel a little better, but their physical therapist has recommended that they go continue for 3 more weeks? How is that important, and why is that important for the recovery?
Try.
So yes, they would start feeling better if they consistently come into PT, do their exercises and everything. But however, we tell them the goal is not to just feel better, but to be back to your baseline, to be back where you were so you could do what you were doing. Because you know, a lot of patients that we see is they start feeling better, they stop doing their exercises, they stop coming into PT, and we always are encouraging our patients to, you know, show up to PT and telling them why they need to do what they're doing, especially with workman's comp patient, because the goal for us is to send them back to where they were. And you know, and I always kind of evaluate their progress and tell them, you're better, but you're not 100% at this point. So how about, you know, we put in a few more weeks of work, and obviously we constantly, our front desk, we talk to the attorneys, we talk to, you know, the doctors, and we make, you know, change of plans depending on what the doctor has, you know, as, you know, in store for the patient as well. So we always try to tell them that, yes, you're feeling better, yes, there's improvement, but we also, with outcome measures, we actually show them how much improvement there is. So they know they're like at 60%, 70%, but not 100%. And they would have a chance of re-injury if they would go back to their work at this time. So once we get them back to 100%, they go back to work, the chances of re-injury are minimized. So, you know, that's what we, you know, try to keep telling them.
Great advice. And going back to work and just being a parent at home, that's like a second job.
Yes.
Sometimes harder than your full-time job, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about the community, the focus on the community, and sponsoring the Laurel Main Street Festival. So how has being located on Main Street really helped you connect with the community in Laurel?
Go ahead. You want to go?
Yeah. So it's been there. Our clinic has been there for a long time now, and it's been a part of the community. So basically, for me, Pivot Physical Therapy is a natural bridge between injury and independence. We're not like a neighborhood clinic that's been there. We're always trying to integrate into the community. We're, you know, kind of partnering with high schools. We're partnering with athletic trainers, and we're partnering with, you know, workers' comp patients. We're partnering with seniors communities. We go in and we deliver speeches, you know, kind of like we talk to our seniors in the community about exercises to do on a daily basis to even prevent any injuries. So we're always collaborating. We're always having a table at soccer games, which we had this past weekend in Washington, D.C. And, you know, we kind of, you know, keep doing a lot of community services. So we're here, and I always want to say that we're always looking to, you know, help our community. We're always looking to offer services. So I want to tell everybody in this community that when you think of injury, you know, think of Pivot, because we're here, we're right next door, and we also do, you know, kind of like direct access. We also do self-pay patients. If you're waiting on that authorizations to come in, you can always do self-pay till you're waiting for that. And we see Medicare patients, we see other insurances, we see all types of insurances. We have therapists who work with, as we said, dry needling, vestibular concussion. We have therapists who work with Parkinson's patients, and, you know, they're specialized to do that. We have another therapist who's working on, you know, TMJ, that's like your jaw and your, you know, kind of injuries to that. So we have everybody, like we have a very good skill set out there in Laurel. So I think it's a good community.
Great. I think TMJ is something not a lot of people know about.
Yes.
That you guys help with.
Yes.
That's what I'm definitely going to tell my team after this episode to keep an eye out for.
Okay.
So, thank you very much for all your time today. Really appreciate you coming in here.
Thank you for having us.
So,
thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
That's all for today's episode of Around Town. If you have a local business, make sure you join the Laurel Board of Trade. Who knows, one day you may be joining me on set. And if you enjoyed learning about these businesses, be sure to like and follow the Laurel Board of Trade social media to stay informed about upcoming events like Laurel's Main Street Festival. Thanks for watching. My name is Jason Plotkin, and I'll see you next time.